Yep. Okay. Bore Croeso. Welcome to you all to February's Cross on Thursday, the 12th of Feb. I'd like to welcome back Councillor Bill Crease, who is recovering well. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move to item 1, apologies.
Chair, I've had apologies from Councillor Ant Turton at today's meeting.
Okay, thank you.
No apologies received, Chair.
Okay, item 2, declarations of interest, including whipping declarations. No, okay. Okay, item 3, minutes on page 5 to 8 of your pack. Okay, we'll go through page 5. Page 6. And page 7. And page 8. Thank you. Okay. Do we have a move for the minutes, please? Thank you. Yeah. And a seconder. Thanks. All those in favour? Thank you. And it's okay. We move on to item 4 now. Urgent matters as agreed by the chair. Nothing there. Thank you. Item 5, action tracking, pages 9 to 14. Okay, and that's
myself. Thank you,
Chair. Thank you.
Service Manager. Thank you, Chair. This is the monthly report we bring back to committee to just keep track of any open actions that are outstanding from previous meetings. What I started to do is bring the previous meeting to the top of the page and separate from the earlier ones. I have had responses to the open ones. I just need to collect those for committee to circulate a response. So I'll do that this week for committee members. But happy to take any questions on the remaining items, Chair.
Do we have any questions? No, we don't appear to. Okay, thank you. So we recommend that the committee notes the progress which has been made. So do we have a proposal for that, please? Thank you. Seconder. Thanks. And all those in favour? Thank you. Okay. Item 5, the forward work programme. And again, Mr. Goodrum, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yep, this is the sitting item that comes to committee about their forward work programme for the meetings ahead. Members will note there are some gaps in, or the June and July look relatively light, but in paragraph 104, the intention is that we will clear the bulk of those items that are to be scheduled using those 2 meetings, because obviously we've got next meeting in March, but then April and May we don't meet as a committee because of the election period for the elections for the Welsh Government. So June, we're in consultation with the North Wales coroner to find a suitable date for him to come to committee. And as was suggested that when his last item was discussed, that we will hold an all-member briefing because it's quite an interesting topic that he brings. It's quite a dark topic, but it is quite an interesting presentation to deliver to council that does generate some interest. And then the committee will have an opportunity then to question the coroner subsequently to that meeting. But happy to take any questions on the forward programme, Chair, or suggestions for items for inclusion.
Okay. No, none by the look of it. Okay, thank you. So the recommendation is that the council considers the draft forward work programme and approve and amend as necessary, that the Democratic Services Manager, in consultation with the chair of the committee, be authorised to vary the forward work programme between meetings as the need arises. So do we have a proposer for that? Thank you. And a seconder. Thank you. All those in favour? Thanks. Okay. So we move on now to item 7, the council fund budget, 21 to 28 in the back. Thank you. And I'd like to invite Gary Ferguson, please.
Thanks, Chair. As members will be aware, we are now reaching the latter stages of our budget planning for the 2026-27 financial year, and this is one of a series of reports to relevant overview and scrutiny committees. I think this is the second to last one. We've got social and health this afternoon. By way of brief background, the Welsh Local Government Provisional Settlement was announced back in November, now on the 24th, and a summary of the key headlines impact on our budget planning was set out in a report to Cabinet and this committee in December. The report at that time advised of a minimum remaining budget gap of 9.519 million, which the council will need to bridge to enable it to set a legal and balanced budget for 26-27 financial year. We then received the final settlement on the 20th of January, and this included additional funding as anticipated following the budget announcement on the 9th of December. Our allocation arising from this was an uplift of 4.1%. That's an increase from the 2.3% at provisional stage, and that contributes an additional 5.219 million to our budget position compared with the December report. However, this additional funding will not be sufficient to meet the previously reported budget gap and the ongoing impact of increasing service demand in areas such as social care and education and additional learning needs. Therefore, portfolios have been revisiting their cost base with a view to identifying potential budget reductions of up to 3%, and those identified by the corporate areas are included within this report. So it's over to you, Chair, whether you would like us to go through table by table, or I'll present the full report as it is and take questions at the end. It may be better to do table by table. Yeah, okay. So if I deal with table one, because that's people and resources, and these are the cost reductions identified from people and resources. The first one is on page 22. And you can see there's a couple there. The first one is within corporate finance. And that is a part-time member of our payments and receipts team has left the authority in November. That individual worked 2 days per week. And although still a challenge, we have now been able to reallocate duties across the team. So the relevant manager is supportive of that reduction. And obviously we have been producing the service on that basis since November, and there's been no issues to date. So we're comfortable that's a green reduction. And the second one is to do with the assets budget. We have historically held a contingency budget to safeguard against risks of any additional costs arising from any of our ADM CAT arrangements. And this really goes back to COVID days where we had issues with potential income levels, utility costs, those type of things. It is now, however, deemed reasonable to reduce that budget due to reduced risks across the various areas. And it's recommended that it's reduced on a one-off basis first by £200,000, but that will be reviewed again in advance of 27-28 just to make sure that we're comfortable to keep that saving in on a recurring basis. So they're just the two from people and resources, Chair. Happy to take any questions on either of those first before we move on.
Don't appear to have any questions. Thank you.
Thanks. I think the next table is in relation to governance options for budget reduction, so I'll hand over to Gareth Owens to deal with those.
Thank you, Chair. So, Chair, a number of the budget pressures that I had put forward for governance were to try and find permanent revenue funding for posts that were funded out of temporary reserves or temporary funding. They were obviously adding to the budget gap. The purpose for putting those posts forward in that way, try and give ourselves and those individuals some certainty and confidence around their future employment. And clearly for us as an organisation, it's a risk if, because they can't get a mortgage or whatever, they decide they need to get a permanent job elsewhere. In order to try and reduce the gap, I have accepted that we could continue to fund those positions from carry forwards, and indeed we have debated at this committee the digital strategy reserve in previous years, Chair, 2 or 3 times, I think, because this has been going on for some time. And the digital strategy reserve has money in it enough to keep those people in positions for another 12 months. And so I have suggested that in order to balance the books, we would continue to fund those posts from that reserve. There are a number of other suggestions. Single person discount. We do them we used to do them every 3 years. We do them every year. We think we can stretch a bit more money out of the single person discount that we were offering to do for next year. And line number 3 is corporate GIS software procurement. We think we can extend that contract rather than go through the costs of re-procurement. So we can postpone that one and possibly do away with it altogether if, particularly if we can reprocure through, say, a framework agreement to the current incumbent. I'm happy to take any questions, Chair.
No, no questions, thanks. Sorry. Yeah, Councillor Healy.
Pardon my ignorance here, but single person's discount, how do we monitor this?
So I'll briefly explain what it is in case there's members of the public watching. If you occupy a council dwelling on your own, you get a discount. And it isn't always the first thing on somebody's mind when a new partner moves in to write to the council tax department and tell them that they're no longer living on their own. However, what happens is if somebody else moves into a property, they tend to leave a footprint, a virtual digital footprint that can be identified through things like credit cards being registered to that address and so on and so forth. So we use a company, an external company called Data Tank, and for a very small fee that is richly repaid by the amount of money that they identify for us, they give us a long list of people or properties where it appears that there are two people living there or more than two people living there that are registered with us as only having one person living there. We then approach the occupants of that property to say, well, actually, is there more than one person living there? And frequently they will come back and apologize and say, oh, yes, we forgot to let you know. We therefore remove their single person discount from them because they are no longer entitled to it. So we do it through external monitoring of the footprint, the credit footprint of that property.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ibbotson.
Just a point of clarity, Mr. Chairman, for any members of the public who are watching. Chief Officer said that single person discount applies to anybody in a council dwelling who lives by themselves. It applies to everybody in all
any dwelling.
Dwellings liable to council tax, regardless of tenure.
Sorry, slip of the tongue, Chair. It's not just council dwellings. Councillor Ibbotson is correct.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? No. Okay, thank you. Okay, table 3. Thank you.
Yep, so table 3 shows the options for budget reductions within central and corporate on page 23 of your papers. As you see, there's 4 items there and some quite large numbers. The first one is £2 million within the strategic transformation programme. It is recommended to include a target for existing and new projects within the programme, and I note an update report is later on the agenda on the overall state progress of the programme. Clearly, this isn't without risk, as the specific savings will need to be identified, agreed and captured in year. However, in view of the scale, 2 million is around about 0.5% of our overall budget, and the level of current activity within the programme, this is deemed reasonable and achievable. There'll be 2 main areas of focus. There's the existing programme of projects and also some new projects that are being explored with an external partner. However, the latter projects still require full business cases to be compiled, so specific figures are not yet available for those particular projects. Achievement of this target will require prioritisation and timely progress of projects, and robust monitoring and reporting arrangements will need to be put in place from day one. That is why there's not a more detailed specific breakdown of that £2 million. The second one is actuarial valuation, £1.383 million. This was referred to in the December report, in that the triennial actuarial valuation and the draft funding strategy statement was approved by Pension Fund Committee back in November, and this has been out to consultation with employer bodies. The outcome of this exercise at a local level is that this council can reduce its employer pension contributions to 16.7% of pay. That's a reduction from around 19% of pay in the current financial year. And that equates to a reduction in our costs of 2.5 million. and that reduction has already been factored in the December report. However, on top of that, as the council is effectively overfunded, we also have the option to draw down some of that overfunding over a period of time. And based on the advice of the actuary and maintaining a prudent 3% sustainability reserve, this means that we can draw down £1.383 million per annum, which is now included in the calculations. The third one is pay modelling review. We previously had an amount of £2 million as a cost pressure for 26-27, as we review our pay model to deal with recruitment and retention issues across the council. As proposals are yet to become in front of members, it's deemed more realistic that effective date would now be part year. So we've assumed that an implementation date would be the 1st of October. So we effectively reduce that £2 million by 50% to £1 million. And then the final one, North Wales Fire and Rescue Authority. Since the last report, we have had the final levy notified to us from the board, and that was £147,000 less than we had in the previous estimates. The final increase is £578,000 for the year. So we've obviously just adjusted that so that we can reflect the actual levy. So I'll pause at that point, Chair, and take any questions or observations.
No questions? No. Thank you. So we're on to table 4 now.
Thank you, Chair. What you'll see there are 2 items in Table 4, the Chief Executives. One of them is a cost reduction in the emergency planning team. That's a regional team, £15,000. And then there is a relatively small reduction there in terms of supplies and services budget. There are no other items in that table, Chair, to draw your attention to. Thank you.
Any questions? No, no questions on that one. So we'll move to table 5. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. This is effectively an accounting adjustment just to reflect the fact that the council did use £261,000 from its on-the-amount reserves in the current financial year to meet the costs of some one-off pressures. The one-off pressures have been taken out of the budget considerations for 26-27, but we also obviously need to reflect the funding dropping out as well from central and corporate, so that's purely an accounting adjustment to reflect that.
Any questions? No, no questions. Okay. Right. Okay, thank you.
Yes, perhaps all remains to be seen then, Chair, is that the last Overview and Scrutiny Committee meeting was this afternoon, and then all have received reports, and then the final budget report will need to be brought together for consideration by Cabinet on the morning of the 24th of February, and then it will obviously be full council debate on the afternoon of the 24th of February.
Do we have any more questions at all? No? Okay. Take it to the recommendation. Yeah. So we'll take it to the recommendation, please. So it's to review and comment on the people and resources portfolio, governance portfolio, and central and corporate options to reduce budgets. So if we've got a proposer for that one, please. Thank you. And a seconder. Thanks. And all those in favour? Okay, thank you. All those against? And abstentions? No. Okay. Thank you. Item 8, which is the revenue budget monitoring 25-26 month 9, and I'd like to invite Gary Ferguson again, please. And Dave Ledger, thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Good morning, members. The revenue report starts on page 31 and provides the latest detailed overview of the budget monitoring position for 25-26. For the council fund, we're reporting an operating deficit of 4.530 million, which reduces down to 1.826 million with the utilisation of the remaining budget risk reserve of 2.704 million. And this is a positive movement of 314,000 from the deficit figure of 4.844 million reported last month at month 8. This now leaves a projected contingency reserve balance of 2.906 million, and this is after we've taken account of all the previously approved allocations. In addition to this, there are clearly still a number of risks which I'll pick up within the report, and of course with the main overspending areas, we're also including action plans as part of the appendix as well. The moratorium on the non-contractually committed spend and vacancy management continues through the year, and currently the analysis in Appendix 2 that shows that that's now increased up to 2.201 million from 2.035 at month 8. Just to pick up on some of the main movements month on month, social services moved by an adverse 129,000. In the main there, that was in older people services in localities, offset by some underspends within children's services. Out of county placements moved by quite a significant 523,000 month on month, and that was down to a number of new placements across both children's services and education and youth. In street scene, that had the benefit of the confirmation of the Sustainable Waste Management Grant. So overall there, that moved by a positive 524,000. Place and growth, that moved by 98,000. In the main, that was down to some planning fee income, large applications that got received in December. And then on central and corporate finance, that moved by a positive 362,000. That came from some Welsh Government funding received for the local government borrowing initiative, as well as savings on the short-term borrowing costs and income from investments. Just picking up on some of the in-year risks, as mentioned before, the council tax income at the end of December, the in-year collection level was 83.5% compared to 84.0% the previous year. So that is 0.5% off last year's target. The waste recycling infraction charge, that still remains outstanding and hanging over us, and that is currently at 540,000, awaiting further information from Welsh Government, which we continue to meet with on a regular basis. A couple of carry forward requests within this report. In 1.15 of the report, people and resources, 140,000. It's recommended that 140,000 of the funding received for the financing of the local government borrowing initiative be carried forward into next year to align the funding with the council's minimum revenue provision policy. And in governance, 90,000. This is to do with the in-year recruitment and retention pressures across customer contact service. It's proposed that the projected underspend of 90,000 is transferred to top up the digital strategy reserve to secure future funding beyond 26-27. So it's recommended there that the 90,000 is carried forward and transferred to the digital strategy reserve. The holiday pay calculations risk remains there. I think there has been a slight update on that, which we'll bring to the next meeting. It isn't included within this information here. I'll come back on that and update after this. The achievement of planned in-year budget reductions, that is at 96% currently, the same as last month. And then on the unearmarked reserves, that now is, there's a base level of 8.985 million plus a contingency reserve of 2.906, giving 11.891 million, leaving a total now of 3% of the total of the approved budget, which is up from 2.92% previously. And then included quarterly, like we do, we've got the earmarked reserves table within the report. And just to give a quick overview of that, the service balances are anticipated to reduce from 1.866 million currently at month 9 to around 1.038 million by the end of the financial year. And secondly, within that analysis, there are the various earmarked reserves, and we're anticipating there that they're reducing from 10.7 million to about 8.4 million by the end of the financial year. School balance deficits, that's quite significant in the sense of that's currently showing a deficit of 599,000, and that's anticipated to grow to about 5.2 million by the end of the financial year. Grants and contributions, we're anticipating that they reduce from currently 5.258 million to about just under £1 million by year end. So overall, we're looking at the reserves and balances reducing from currently about 17 million to something like about 5 million by financial year end. So quite significant position overall, but clearly some of that is offset by the anticipated deficits within schools. And then just to finish off on the housing revenue account, we've got a projected minor overspend of 1,000, higher than the budget, which is a positive movement of 109,000 since month 8. And this leaves a closing unearmarked balance of 3.411 million, which is 8.13%, which ensures a prudent approach above the minimum level of 3%. And the details of that can be found in Appendix 5. Thanks, Chair, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Councillor Madison, please.
Councillor Caden.
Sorry, my glasses aren't working very well.
Yes, thank you, Chair. The worrying figure here is obviously the social services overspend, and the particular problem, as we know, is it's demand driven. Have we got any plan to deal with this and to manage this and because by the end of the year, at this rate that is growing, this figure is going to be enormous and going to be a huge pressure on the authority.
Yeah, thanks. Totally agree that the main budget issue of the council is social care demand this financial year. Important to note that that figure there is a projected overspend to the end of the financial year, so it's not just up to month 9. So any future costs, as best as can be estimated, are factored in. And there's a report going this afternoon to Social Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee, which looks at the in-year position for social care demand, and an additional amount has been included in the budget for next year, taking into account current demand levels, which the Chief Officer will be presenting this afternoon. So we are trying to reflect as best we can the in-year demand and the impact for next year's budget. But as we know, it's an increasing issue, isn't it, which is very difficult to be very precise at this stage.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Sorry, Chair, just in addition to what Gary's just said, on page, I think it's page 53, there is an action plan for social services, which has been there, I think, for what, probably other members will remember better than I, but it's been there at least 3 months, since November, December, probably, just as a reference for page 53.
Okay, if we've got no more questions, should we move on to the capital programme monitoring? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Morning, members. Yeah. Table 1 gives the revised budget position at month 9 of 72.4 million after taking into account changes during the period, net carry forwards into 2026-27 and identified savings at month 9. The changes during the third quarter are shown in Table 2, which shows the change during this period of 1.1 million across a number of portfolios. And Table 3 shows the projected outturn position of 69.8 million, resulting in an underspend of 2.5 million, which is recommended in the report to be carried forward to complete schemes next financial year. The breakdown of this is shown by portfolios in Table 4. Paragraph 1.15 confirms there are no additional allocations identified in the programme this quarter. And also paragraph 1.16 shows the number of savings that have been identified in the programme which relate to ITC schemes, totaling 600,000. The overall funding position for the programme's improved, which is shown in Table 5, showing a surplus of 4.688 million, which is due to the savings identified within the ICT schemes. Finally, paragraph 1.26 in the report discusses the monitoring of potential indicators with an update provided in the pack as Appendix D. So happy to take any questions, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions? No, we don't. So, ready to go to the recommendations. Recommendation 1, that the committee considers and comments on the revenue budget monitoring 25-26 month 9 report. Any specific matters for attention will be noted and reported back to the Cabinet when it considers report. And then part 2 is that the committee considers and comments on the capital programme 25-26 month 9 report report any specific matters for attention will be noted and reported back to Cabinet when it considers the report. We'll take both of those as one. So if we have a proposer, please. Thank you. And a seconder. Thank you. And all those in favour? Yeah. Thank you. And sorry, all those against? Abstentions? Okay. Thank you. So we'll move on to agenda item 9, which is pages 85 to 154. So it's Strategic Equality Plan Annual Report. Thank you. I would like to invite Fiona Mioka. Thank you. Neil first, sorry.
Okay. Morning, everyone, again. So I'll briefly take you through this because we've got Kelly and Fiona here. Fiona being significantly instrumental in developing this document, pulling it all together. So this is the annual report, 24-25. The actions and measures of the Strategic Equality Plan, they've been incorporated within the Council's performance management system. There's also an updated action plan which looks very similar to and using a model that we've used in the Council Plan and year report. Achievements are set out in your report at paragraph 105 with areas for improvement at 105. 106 sets out a number of mitigations to address those areas for improvement. I'll stop there. I did say it was brief. I'll stop there and hand over to Kelly and Fiona. Thank you.
Borda, good morning. And just to note really that under the Equality Act 2010 and the public sector equality duties, we are required to produce a strategic equality plan every 4 years. So our plan runs 2024 to 2028. In that plan, we set equality objectives as required, and then we are required to report annually on progress in achieving those equality objectives. The strategic equality plan also includes actions that fulfil other requirements, such as meeting the Welsh Government's Anti-Racist Wales Action Plan. And as the Chief Executive has pointed out, this report presents the annual report for 24-25, which you'll find as an appendices to the covering report. It's quite detailed, so I don't think we want to go over too much. As the Chief Executive has explained, some of the achievements have been summarised with the areas still for improvement identified within the covering report. Just to note that those areas for improvement are being addressed by 2 subgroups of the Corporate Equalities Board. Also included in this report is some further information. At Appendix 2, you'll find a letter from the Equality and Human Rights Commission with the outcome of a desk-based monitoring exercise which was undertaken to assess aspects of the public sector equality duty compliance. And just to note that they were pleased to advise that in areas that they looked at, Flintshire Council appeared to be meeting the requirements of those regulations at that time. It's a very brief overview. Fiona and I will do our best to answer any questions that you have, but the annual report is quite broad, quite cross-cutting, so if there is anything we can't answer specific to services, we're quite happy to take that away and try and come back to members.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. An awful lot of work's gone into this report, and I would like to commend the officers for all the work that they have done. And if I can just make a brief mention, because it's on a personal note, of the 8 e-learning programmes and workshops that have been provided, one of them included visual impairment awareness course delivered by Vision Support. I'm really pleased about this, and that is purely from a personal point of view. So thank you for that, and thank you for all your work.
Thank you. Just to comment from me on page 96, where they're on about mental health first aiders. Yeah, I was a mental health first aider in my former career for over 10 years, and I learned how to see the signs and was able to talk and support colleagues, friends and family who were suffering with mental health issues. We live in a very challenging world for everyone. Would it be an idea to provide training for some elected members who could become mental health points of contact? Thank you.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. Yes, that's definitely something we can raise and pick up, and I'll speak to Stephen afterwards and with HR who organise a training.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Do you have any?
Diolch, Chair. Bore da. Yeah, just say that I attended the anti-racism training about 2 weeks ago with our senior managers and the rest of the SSNT of social services. It was anti-racism show, racism red card, and it was excellent. And I recommend anybody who can attend that, because it was really eye-opening and it was very informative. So
Okay, thank you. Councillor Healy.
I would like to bring to the attention racism. It's okay, we're saying that we get training and all that, but I would like more training given to make it more aware, because this problem hasn't gone away. At the moment, I've got a case of racism in my ward, and it's not gone away. It's still there. So bringing awareness and educating people regarding racism is very important, in particular in this climate. Because it's not only, we talk about racism and people think it's between black and white. No, it's not. Racism can be within. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Healy. Councillor Maddison, please.
Thank you, Chair. It is Councillor Maddison this time. It is confusing to have a... We are with a Tina Gina double act. So. I wanted to raise at page 17, Project Search, continue to support disabled people to secure employment opportunities through Project Search. I mean, I do find this very interesting because I am the volunteer secretary of a small local charity, mainly for girls and vulnerable young women with disabilities. I do commend this work, and I would like to hear something about Project Search some point at the appropriate committee. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Councillor Banks online.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for letting me come in. Congratulations to yourself on your mental health training that you've done and the help you've probably provided over the years to people. Just as a follow-on from the report that we took about young male suicide and the awareness of it to Cabinet a couple of months ago. Following on from that, we had a meeting last week with obviously Chief Officer from Street Scene and also Chief Officer from Social Care came along. So Katie and Craig, now they are putting things forward where we're going to filter out into every single committee where we are going to be seeking mental health champions through workforces from every department in Flintshire. So it is one that's there, and it's just about to start up. Take a bit of time to get it rolling through, obviously, and then obviously looking for volunteers and things. But I'm sure that you'll hear a lot more about that from the two chief officers, Katie Wilby and Craig McLeod as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Diolch, Chair. Councillor Maddison, if you want to know anything about Project Search, please come and have a chat with me. It's something as a service we have been involved with for many years now, providing training for our young people who have got a disability or well, there's lots of issues here. We work with Clwyd Allen and we work with health. So there's different categories of project search. So if you have a chat with me and we can, well, it's been a huge success. It really has. And I'm actually the mental health champion.
Thanks, Christy.
So,
Great, thank you very much. We've got no more questions. Oh.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say I would like to see something put in place regarding dementia. Dementia is a very dilapidating illness. You see me, hear me, and support me. That is the words they say. So I would like to bring more awareness with dementia. Although dementia sometimes is put under the umbrella of mental health, but I think it should be given more awareness, because let's face it, there's a lot of dementia people. I believe it's nearly 2-point-something million, and I think we should be more aware of this. Although there was a time councillors did have training in dementia when we had but I think after that it went pretty quiet, but we need to bring more awareness in dementia. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Healy. Councillor Jones, thank you.
Diolch, me again. There's a great deal of work that happens in Flintshire on dementia. We're actually a dementia-friendly community. We're an age-friendly community and county as well. There's an awful lot of work going on. So I will get asked if we can put on the forward work programme of our social care scrutinies. And we've got a meeting today, so I'll make sure that Margaret can put it. So then you can be updated on what work we are actually doing. And there is an awful lot of work, which we're really proud of. But there's too long a list to mention here today. But I will, we can have it on the forward work programme for an update. Yeah, lovely.
Thank you. I know town councils, ours is a dementia-friendly town council, so I don't know whether that's how widespread that is in Flintshire.
Yeah, we involve all the town councils, lots of different organisations are part of the partnership. That's why we're an age-friendly and dementia-friendly community in Flintshire. So,
thank you. Thanks.
Diolch. Yes, Councillor Healy, we have had included dementia in our equality plan previously, because a lot of work does go on in social services, because the equality plan is about all those portfolios making a contribution. So that's something, again, I can raise with social services about how we can make sure that what they're doing is captured in our equality plan.
Thank you. Councillor Clayton.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about different departments and the gender bias within those departments. I'm thinking perhaps, I don't know the background, but I'm thinking about an area like street scene, which is very male orientated. And I wonder if anything has been done to discuss whether there is gender bias, whether there is sexism going on in something which is heavily biased to one gender.
Okay, that's a really interesting point that you've raised, because it is something we actually look at, and it's HR produced a separate report on, I think they call it equality, monitoring and employment. And usually incorporate some of it in this report, so you can see the overview of the makeup of the workforce. But the report wasn't quite ready in time for this report coming forward. But yes, that's something that they look at. We look at the composition of the workforce. We look at who's applying for jobs in terms of their breakdown of male, female, age, disability. if they get selected for interview, you know, who's more likely to be selected for interview than who gets appointed, so they can analyse that to find out, do we have bias in the organisation or potential discrimination without realising it. And that's why we provide the unconscious bias training, because people don't always realise perhaps their biases.
Thank you. Okay. Yep, thank you.
Tickets available for the next Tina Gina show from us. Thank you, Chair. Page 46, CHC 004T. Further develop our community hub approach to give access to a range of programmes, services and agencies together in one place. If I can flag up the rural wards here, and I know that you are considering them. Mine and Councillor Banks's ward is very rural, Llanastra and Trelawney. We have no towns. We do have a very, very, very good network of warm hubs, community centres and village halls and churches and so forth. There are other rural wards such as Holkin. Our wards don't have very good internet access either. In some of them, the reception is very poor. And we do have quite minimal bus services unless you actually live on the coast road. So just a shout out here for the rural wards in respect of community hubs. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Healy.
I'm sorry. I just want to say, I want to bring back something that has been in my mind for some time. It's homelessness. I must say, I sit here and I'm very, very proud of Flintshire. We don't see a lot of homelessness because there is other places I go and I see homeless people sitting around. But Flintshire is doing such a fantastic job to help these people to get a warm place to stay and sleep in something warm. That is immense. So I want to thank the officers who work with homelessness for everything that they do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right. I don't think we've got any more questions, so we'll go to the recommendations. There's two items. Number one is that scrutiny. Sorry, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for your reports. Thank you very much. And okay, so recommendation one is that scrutiny notes the content of the Strategic Equality Plan annual report for 24-25 and provide any feedback or comment. Item two, that scrutiny be assured of the progress made by the council in meeting the public sector equality duty. So we'll take those as one. So if we've got a proposer, please. Thank you. And a seconder. Thank you. All those in favour? Thanks. All those against? And any abstentions? No. Thank you very much. So the next item is part two. Yeah, okay. So to Local Government Access to Information Act 1985 to consider the exclusion of press and public. The following items are considered to be exempt by virtue of paragraphs 14 of Part 4 of Schedule 12A. Sorry, okay. The following item is considered to be exempt by virtue of paragraphs 15 of Part 4 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 72 as amended. The report contains matters pertaining to employment relations and the public interest in withholding the information outweighs the interest in disclosure until such time as the issues have been resolved. Thank you. Can we have a mover, please? Thank you. And a seconder. Thank you. And all those in favour? Thank you. Okay. And anyone against? Yeah. And abstentions? Thank you. So who's... okay.